Commissioner Showalter.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to start with the last slide of this presentation, which is the long-term budget outlook. It's probably a good jumping-off place for inflation because, as you know, inflation is not included in the forecast in a general measure. What you see here is the 24 and 25 and 26, 27 estimated revenues and spending. Looking at the comparison of those on a real-time basis, or like how do those line up on any given period of time, you'll see that we maintain a structural balance in both of those periods with growth in both of them. One of the things that is not included in that is the effect of inflation on any of those sets of numbers generally. For general inflation, we're estimating about $1.6 billion in the budget biennium and about 3.3 in the tails based upon a CPI. And applying that really only to the parts of the budget that don't have inflation in it. I should say that there's parts of the forecast that do have inflation in it. So things like nursing facility payments, property tax refunds, special ed. There are statutory notes about what inflation is and how those work together. And there's other parts where it wouldn't make any sense, like debt service payments, where it is a dollar amount that we are to pay out. That said, those are the estimated inflations for those periods of time. Now, the part that is less clear is that in the budget period, there is also the effect of inflation, but we have a budget in place. So at this point, the highest parts of the inflation were, in fact, in 22 and 23. We were seeing estimated inflation in this forecast around 7% in 22 and about 6.6% in 23. And so there are pressures on the existing budget that's on the table that are not accounted for in these estimated inflations. So that isn't part of what we're saying here, but I just want to point out that the inflation was certainly part of the backdrop of looking at agency budget recommendations and sort of considering where we're going forward, simply because that is to be managed inside the appropriations that the legislature enacts and doesn't really carry forward or show up as an automatic factor going forward. So, Chair Olson, that's kind of the wrap-up of this presentation, and happy to go further or take questions.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. Representative Pulowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to make a reference to comments that have been made. And my first reference is this, that every high school senior in this state should have the option of graduating not just with a traditional diploma, but with an employable skill set. In the October 2019 mini session, the largest hearing was at the Technical College. As a result of that hearing, legislation was passed in June of 2021 that for the first time in 3 decades, we are going to have licensure and certification of what we once called vocational ed teachers, but what we will call now technical education teachers that can go back into our high schools and teach high school seniors a skill set so that when they graduate, they will be employable. I've had one conversation with the chair of K-12 education on this already, and hopefully if we have a joint hearing, the scope of that hearing will be the relinking of our 2-year technical colleges, which were once vocational schools inside our school districts. Now they will be a technical college linked to our high schools so that those high school seniors, and I think it's about 40% of the population, can get an employable skill set upon graduation. That's one way to address the problem that we have with finding employable individuals, and it's another to say that you can graduate with an employable skill set without debt, and hopefully they will stay in the area that they are graduating in. And they might even, Madam Chair, be able to afford a family, maybe a home, and other things as a result of not having that debt. So the scope of the Higher Education Committee this session is going to be focused at least partially on accomplishing that end.
Thank you, Representative Pulowski. Great. Sounds like our chairs have a lot of work to do to dig into all of this, and we have the right people for the job. So thank you for all of that. And so I want to say thank you to the Commissioner, thank you to the State Budget Director, thank you to Dr. Kolmakidis. And the Commissioner is going to stick around. Your team will be around as we proceed to the next portion of the meeting, which is the bill hearing. So thank you all very much for being here in person after so many years on Zoom doing this, and we're really glad you were here, and with all the juggling of schedules, appreciate your flexibility with that. So thank you.